Your mind is a battlefield, and every day, whether you see it or not, it's under siege. Not by bombs, not by bullets, but by information, noise, distraction, lies, temptations, mediocrity. What you feed your mind will shape your fate. Garbage in, garbage out. Wisdom in, power out. You don't become strong by accident. You don't become focused, driven, and dangerous by default. You become what you allow, in what you consume, what you believe, what you repeat. You wouldn't drink poison and expect to stay healthy. Yet people binge nonsense, scroll endlessly, absorb garbage media, gossip, drama, and wonder why their life feels meaningless. They wonder why they're anxious, unmotivated, weak. Here's the raw truth. Your inputs define your identity, your beliefs, your focus, your future. If you don't guard your mind, the world will invade it. They will fill it with weakness, with fear, with fake dreams. They'll tell you comfort is success, that ambition is toxic, that discipline is oppression. They'll sell you a life of sedation, dopamine overdrive, and zero purpose. And worst of all, you'll believe it's normal. Let me make it clear. What you put into your mind will echo into your destiny. And the world is not passive. It's actively trying to shape you. Algorithms are not your friends. They don't care about your growth. They care about your addiction. They're designed to feed you what makes you weak, so you keep coming back. Rage, gossip, fantasy, victimhood. Because a distracted mind is a controlled mind. A reactive mind is a weak one. But here's the good news. You can take back control. Not by wishing, not by hoping, but by becoming a ruthless gatekeeper. You decide what gets in. You decide what shapes you. And that's where your power begins. Protect your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. If this hit something deep, if you felt your chest tighten, if you're tired of being manipulated by invisible forces, hit that like button. This isn't just entertainment. It's war strategy for the modern age. And what's coming next in this video? We're about to get surgical. I'm going to show you exactly how to rewire your input system and reclaim your mental fortress. Stick with me. This isn't for the average. This is for those who want to evolve. Step 1. Starve the poison. Let's start with subtraction before addition. Before you can build a sharp, fortified mind, you have to purge the infection. Because what you're not feeding your mind is just as important as what you are. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." But how can you command your mind if it's already been hijacked? If your mental space is filled with constant noise, endless scrolling, political hysteria, celebrity drama, shallow content, then your mind is not yours, it's theirs. You've handed it over like a fool handing the keys to his home to a thief. So ask yourself, what are you allowing in? Every headline you click, every reel you swipe, every opinion you absorb, it's not neutral. It's either sharpening you or softening you, strengthening or sedating, lifting you up or dulling your edge. If you're consuming content that glorifies victimhood, escapism, gossip, you're engineering your own downfall. Because repeated exposure becomes belief, and belief becomes behavior. You are what you consistently consume. So eliminate mindless media. Stop watching things that celebrate mediocrity. Stop giving your attention to digital trash. Purge the gossip channels, the shallow influencers, the rage bait merchants. Cut it out. This is not about pretending the world doesn't exist. This is about choosing what deserves space in your internal universe. You want a mind like a fortress? Then treat it like one. You don't let every beggar, every clown, every parasite walk through the gates. You inspect, you question, you filter. Because if your mind is a castle, your attention is the throne. And only you decide who sits on it. Stick around. The next move is where we shift from defense to offense. Step 2. Feed the flame. Once you've starved the poison, you've cleared the battlefield. Now, it's time to arm yourself. To feed your mind like a warrior feeds his body strategically, deliberately, with power in every bite. Let's be clear. Motivation isn't a feeling. It's a byproduct. It comes from the inputs you feed your brain: ideas, stories, challenges, philosophy, hardship. Nietzsche once said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." That why doesn't fall out of the sky. It's cultivated through exposure to truth, struggle, perspective. If you're feeling aimless, hollow, lost, it's not because life lacks meaning. It's because you haven't fed your mind enough substance to extract that meaning. Here's what you need to start doing daily. Read timeless philosophy. Not Twitter threads, not clickbait. I'm talking about Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, Seneca. Men who stared into the abyss and forged clarity from it. Read stories of real human grit survivors, warriors, builders. Read about people who were cornered by life and clawed their way out. That's your fuel. Listen to conversations that challenge your thinking, not ones that validate your weakness. Seek voices that sharpen your intellect, not those that coddle your fragility. Watch content that demands something of you, that confronts you with uncomfortable truths. Not dopamine junk food, but raw, unfiltered wisdom. Because you don't rise through comfort, you rise through friction. Feed your mind like you're preparing for war, because mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you are. Every day you are being tested by distraction, by delay, by comfort. And if you haven't trained your mind with powerful inputs, you'll break. You'll fall into the spiral dopamine addiction, passive living, mental fog. But if you fill your mind with clarity, discipline, perspective, you'll stand unshaken while the world around you collapses. Let me ask you this. Are you feeding your mind with information that builds strength? Or are you feeding it with entertainment that breeds weakness? The answer is staring back at you in the mirror. And in the next part, we're going to talk about environment, not just what you consume, but who you let shape your mind, your identity, and your destiny. Get ready. This next part will shake the ground you stand on. Step 3. Control the architects of your mind. Here's the brutal truth. You are not the sole author of your identity. Every person you interact with, every voice you listen to, every presence you tolerate, they are all architects helping to build or destroy your mental fortress. You think you're thinking your own thoughts? If your circle is weak, unfocused, self-indulgent, afraid, guess what kind of thoughts are echoing through your mind? Their thoughts, their fears, their mediocrity, their limitations. As Voltaire warned, he who thinks himself wise because he belongs to a crowd is a fool. And in today's world, the crowd is louder than ever. Social media is not neutral. Your feed is not random. Your circle is not harmless. It's programming you, not consciously, not deliberately, but through constant, subtle influence, through repetition, imitation, normalization. You're becoming the people you're exposed to. So here's the rule. Audit your circle like your life depends on it. Because it does. If someone talks like a loser, thinks like a victim, moves like a coward, distance yourself immediately. That infection spreads faster than you think. Guard your time like it's currency. Guard your energy like it's gold. Surround yourself with those who demand greatness, who force you to stretch, who make you uncomfortable because their ambition makes your comfort zone feel like a prison. Here's a harsh truth. If you're the strongest mind in your circle, you're in the wrong circle. You need people who challenge you, who think deeper, who speak sharper, who live harder, who make you question everything you thought you knew. Because that's how mental armor is forged. Let me give you a tactic. If you don't have access to those kinds of people, physically build your digital tribe. Find creators, thinkers, authors, mentors who speak with fire. Immerse yourself in their work until their voices replace the weak ones in your head. You'll become the product of the 5 voices you hear most often. Make damn sure they're voices of strength, clarity, and purpose. You control the architects. You control the blueprint. If you felt yourself drifting, absorbing weakness through your environment, and you're done tolerating it, hit that subscribe button right now. You're not just watching. You're shifting. You're rising. You're building. And the next part, we go even deeper. We're going to talk about internal filter show to master your own mental operating system so that no matter what comes your way, your mind remains unshaken. Step 4. Build your internal filters. Even after you cut the noise and sharpen your inputs, the war isn't over. Because here's the real test. Can you control what sticks? Information is everywhere, but not all of it deserves space in your mind. You need filters, mental firewalls. Not everything should be accepted. Not every opinion is valid. Not every emotion needs to be entertained. Marcus Aurelius said, "The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts." Read that again. Your soul becomes what you dwell on. So if you want clarity, if you want focus, you need to filter what enters your inner world ruthlessly. Here's how. 1. Question everything. Don't just absorb information, interrogate it. Who benefits if you believe this? What's the hidden agenda? Is it empowering or enslaving? Most people are too passive with their thoughts. They let ideas seep in like water through a crack in the wall. And over time, those ideas rot the foundation. 2. Challenge emotion with reason. Just because a feeling enters your mind doesn't mean it's true. Fear isn't fact. Guilt isn't always justified. Envy isn't reality. Build a habit of stepping outside your emotion. Observe it. Dissect it. Starve it of power. 3. Categorize inputs. Not everything is worth deep reflection. Some things are to be noted, others dismissed. Train your brain to sort the signal from the noise. Prioritize the eternal over the temporary. Wisdom over entertainment. Truth over opinion. 4. Install a purpose filter. Every thought should pass through one question. Does this serve my mission? If it doesn't, trash it. Let the weak swim in distraction. You walk with direction. Your mind is like a kingdom. There must be guards at the gate trained to evaluate every visitor. Not all information is welcome. Not all emotion deserves power. Not every voice deserves space in your temple. This isn't about being closed-minded. It's about being deliberate, focused, dangerous. Because when your filters are sharp, you become untouchable. You stop reacting to every headline, every slight, every whisper of negativity. You operate above the noise. And that's rare. Most people are puppet strings pulled by whatever enters their mind, but not you. You build your walls. You raise your standards. You filter like a king. And if that's the version of you you're aiming for, like the video right now. Not tomorrow, not later, right now. Because this isn't just information, it's transformation. And what's next? In part 6, we explore how to create a daily ritual that forges mental steel. A system that makes protecting and sharpening your mind automatic. The elite don't rely on willpower. They run systems. You're about to build yours. Step 5. Build your mental rituals. Here's the most overlooked truth in modern life. Discipline isn't motivation. It's rhythm, it's ritual, it's structure. The strongest minds don't rely on fleeting energy, they rely on systems. Daily structures that feed the mind, fortify it, and guard it from decay. You don't wait until you feel good to train your body. You train anyway. Same with the mind. Mental clarity is not a mood, it's a result. A result of the habits you lock in every day. Let's break it down. 1. Morning priming. The first hour of your day is sacred. It's the ignition sequence for your mind. Most people wake up and immediately hand their consciousness to their phone's news, texts, anxiety, comparison. They let the world own their state of mind before they've even stood up. Not you. You wake up and command your mind. That might be meditation, stoic reading, journaling, or focused solitude. Something that centers you, grounds you, frames the day in clarity, not chaos. 2. Input windows. Schedule your consumption. Don't graze all day like cattle. Choose specific windows to absorb information when you're alert, intentional, and ready to think. No more mindless feeds. No more passive scrolling. You are the curator of your consciousness. 3. Silence and solitude. You need blocks of silence in your day. Time to process, reflect, and think without interference. This is where breakthroughs happen, not when you're distracted, but when you're alone with your mind. Silence sharpens the blade. 4. Evening audit. Every night you close the loop. Review your thoughts, your decisions, your inputs. Did you feed your mind properly today? Did you let anything weak through the gates? Did you live aligned with your mission? This isn't guilt, it's refinement. This is what warriors do. They don't just train, they review, they refine, they grow stronger with each cycle. 5. Remove randomness. Randomness breeds weakness. Predictable structure builds strength. You must remove randomness from your mental diet. Don't let the internet decide what you think about. You decide. You control the flow. These rituals are not glamorous. They won't get you likes or applause. But they will build a mind of steel. A mind that doesn't bend to pressure, that doesn't flinch at chaos, that doesn't collapse when tested. And in a world this loud, this chaotic, this manipulative, that kind of mind is power. But we're not done yet. This is where it all converges. You've cut the poison, you've fed the flame, you've reshaped your environment, you've built the filters, you've locked in the rituals. But now comes the deeper question. Why? Why go to war for your own mind? Because the cost of ignoring this is far greater than most people can bear. You lose your clarity. You lose your will. You lose your identity. You become a hollow replica of your potential. A man pulled in every direction by whatever is loudest, newest, most viral. You become addicted to comfort, allergic to discipline, and blind to truth. And worst of all, you think it's normal. You think anxiety, confusion, apathy, stagnation, that these are just part of being human. They're not. They're signs of a weak, unprotected mind. But when you build your mind deliberately, when you take full ownership of what you let in, everything changes. You gain focus real, penetrating attention in a world obsessed with noise. You gain direction because you've filtered out the irrelevant and focused on your mission. You gain peace, not the peace of sedation, but the peace of knowing you're aligned, sharp, centered. You gain freedom. That's what all of this leads to. Not just strength, not just confidence, but freedom. The freedom to choose your thoughts, to control your state, to own your path. And that freedom, that's what most people will never taste, because they're too lazy to guard the gate. But you've seen the truth now. And once you see, you can't unsee. Your mind is the throne room of your life, protected like a king. Every day, every moment. This isn't a one-time choice. It's a lifestyle, a standard, a declaration. My mind is mine, and I decide what shapes it. If that spoke to you, if it cracked something open inside you, subscribe right now. Not because I need the numbers, but because this channel, this movement, this philosophy, this is your shield in a world that wants to see you distracted, defeated, and domesticated. And what's coming next? We're going even deeper into the disciplines of power, the philosophies of ambition, and the architecture of the unstoppable mind. Because this is just the beginning. You are the architect now. Welcome to the next level.